Hi, I'm Rob Harley. This is Extreme Close-Up. What would motivate a young professional couple, a doctor and a nurse, to leave the comforts of home and go live with their newborn baby in one of the most appalling slums in the world? Well, the friends of Sue and Kristin Jack ask that question often, particularly seeing service in the third world has already led to such tragedy in the life of Sue's family. Tonight, the story of a love affair with the people of Cambodia. From among the images of a Holocaust came a spark which ignited the heart of a young New Zealander.
So he drew the family tree, and then he just went through each one by one and crossed them out. Dead, 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 dead. The whole family tree, except for himself and one sister.
Kristin Jack, a Dunedin registered nurse, was so touched by the stories of the killing fields told to him by a Cambodian refugee friend, it changed his life forever.
And that was like an arrow, like a knife in my heart. And that was when I really started thinking seriously about Cambodia and its history, its suffering.
This is the story of how Kristin and his wife Sue, a doctor, left family and career prospects behind for a new life in a $450 tree hut in the slums of Phnom Penh. Because like her husband, Dr. Sue Jack has found this country irresistible. Two rivers flow through Phnom Penh. Each year they carve away at the banks of the villages they pass by. When Kristin Jack came back here with Sue and Caleb, a house he'd stayed in on a previous sojourn had washed away. By Kristin's reckoning, the site of the little shack now about 15 metres offshore. So the Jacks bought a new house in the little village the locals call Broken Bank. And Kristin's very proud of it. At just $220 US, he thinks it was quite a bargain.
We've tried to go for all natural materials as much as possible. Note the thatch here. We really like that earthy, natural, back-to-nature feel. So we've gone for all natural, apart from the plastic. We've got the nylon netting here to stop Caleb throwing himself off the balcony, which he seems to want to do. Well, I think there's a number of very saleable features here. We've got the ranch sliding windows, again in all natural materials. It's a little bit sticky. One of the notable features about the kitchen is everything's at your fingertips. We've had this architecturally designed so that we wouldn't have to reach too far for anything. We've got our manual refrigerator here.
Fresh ice every day?
Fresh ice every day. Well, you'll notice how everything sweeps through, open planning from the large veranda into the living room here, past the kitchen, down into the stairwell.
Oh, it's split level?
Oh, it's split level, yes. As I say, architecturally designed.
And this bedroom, can you explain its features?
Well, again, it's a very economical use of space. The bedroom into the ensuite. So handy.
You watch the market quite closely. I suppose back home you must really feel for some of these folks in classier parts of Auckland who've seen the property market bite into their equity. It must really break you up.
We feel very sorry for them indeed. And I guess we feel a little bit smug because I don't think this place is devalued at all. As the river gets closer and the river view is more prominent, I think we'll find the prices go up.
Sue and Kristin are part of an organisation simply called Servants. And they've chosen to live in this village for a variety of reasons. It gives them credibility with the locals, for one thing. It also means they build friendships. Although, such is the poverty here, their hearts are regularly broken by the despair they see. In the evening, to Sue's porch comes a village father with his baby girl called Sarah. Sarah is HIV positive. Her mother died of AIDS, contracted from her first husband, a regular patron of the local brothels where AIDS is rife.
It's just happening everywhere, but certainly for us it's become more real now that we're knowing people who this is happening to, and Jantar's family is a classic case of this.
So little Sarah is part of the sad nightly parade of people who come to Sue and Kristin's little tree hut porch. It's shaping up as a reasonably typical evening.
Just drove an oil through his foot. Tetanus isn't up to date. And Yeah, that's not too good.
As well as the youngsters with injuries, there are the mothers with no money who beg for basic medicine. Sue and Kristin have managed to obtain some pharmaceuticals from abroad and hand them out for free. This woman got her ankle caught in the chain of a motorcycle. Without the compassion and availability of her Kiwi neighbours, she'd have lost her foot. Now she's recovering well. And in the middle of it all, a highly adaptable little blonde-haired boy, constantly prey to the diseases that run rampant through Broken Bank.
We're careful, we're conscious of all the problems, but again, you can overprotect people, and then they miss out on living as well. So we certainly are careful, but we're not wanting to hinder Caleb in any way.
But the hazards are plentiful. We returned to the village with Kristin one morning, and the neighbour's shack, just a couple of metres away, has caught fire. Caleb right next door with the babysitter. Arson is suspected. A village confrontation is feared.
It's been a few for a while, but it'll get more complicated now because I think they've called the police in to resolve it. So just making them a bit more bitter with one another, I think.
And of course this is where your young son gets looked after from time to time, isn't it?
Yeah, from time to time Caleb's up there playing with the kids.
So you'd have a personal interest in seeing that hole in the wall fixed?
Yeah, if he's up there, we prefer to wound holes in the walls to walk out.
The other front line of servants work in Phnom Penh, a place where youngsters blighted by malnutrition and disability are cared for. Here a Kiwi doctor just dreams about how much more she could do with decent medical supplies.
How long has she been in the program?
But is content enough in the meantime to see a severely malnourished child put on a little weight.
Gain of 1.3 kilos in 2 months. That's pretty good gain.
Here Sue Jack trains locals to run nutrition programs and, on a shoestring, give disabled kids a hand up.
We facilitated her to have surgery and then the braces. So before all of this, she couldn't walk at all. So it's a major improvement for her. But as you can see, it's still pretty hard going.
You can measure the results of Kiwis choosing to live in a slum. The steps forward can be seen among people who live in breathtaking poverty. Here in a home about half the size of a garage in New Zealand, giant steps for a youngster they've helped.
He's got spastic cerebral palsy. He's a really bright kid, and when he first came in the program he couldn't do anything. He was just lying there, couldn't sit up, couldn't roll over, and he can now stand, sit on these toys. These are borrowed from the Little Conquerors, our program, and yeah, he's doing very well. So it's great.
It's amazing how something as simple as a couple of toilets and a song about washing your hands can make such a huge difference. Up till just a few months ago, the kids at this school in Phnom Penh were forced to defecate in the grounds.
This is a school of nearly 2,000 pupils without any running water, without any toilets. And so when we first came in here to do health teaching, it became obvious pretty soon that it was a bit futile teaching about hygiene and health when there were no facilities at all.
Servants organised toilets and running water, and the rate of illness has plunged.
It's quite clean still. A little bit smelly, but not too bad.
It's the same principle with what they call number ones here in Cambodia.
The number one brand of condom is the most plentiful one here, and one that we promote. Because HIV/AIDS is so rampant here and spreading so fast, we're happy to promote condom use in our teaching programs and in our birth spacing programs, family planning programs, women's health programs. Yeah.
Compatible with the Christian message?
Well, we think saving people's lives is compatible, and preventing suffering is compatible with Christian mission. So yeah, we're certainly not afraid to promote condom use.
So several times a week, doctors and nurses from servants pack huge numbers of condoms and other supplies and head into Phnom Penh's red light district, where a woman's body costs $1 and 2 out of every 3 sex workers is HIV positive.
Yeah, the place we work we describe as the pit of hell. It's just a revolting place.
Sue and others from servants have seen the occasional young woman, some sold into prostitution by their family, break free of this place, but the cost is high.
There's a huge network of people up to high officials involved, and it's, yeah, it's a sordid business.
If a woman runs away and then gets caught, what normally happens to her?
Stories that we've heard down in the brothel area where we work is that they're chained up, they're locked in toilets, have their head stuffed down toilets, that kind of thing.
In the shabby, stifling little rooms, women who are little more than slaves work until they become too ill to continue.
Strange to think of a Christian health worker, a doctor, coming into a place like this and actually being pleased at the sight of condom wrappers on the floor.
Yeah, it is a strange thing, but yeah, I mean, our neighbours and friends are dying of AIDS now, and anything that we can do to prevent it. People are saying it's going to be the next Holocaust for Cambodia, and we want to do everything we can to stop that if possible.
Slowly but surely results come. The women servants work with are showing up with fewer and fewer sexually transmitted diseases. In their little village, Sue and Kristin Jack help break another kind of cycle, poverty. Here you find an enterprise they've established involving a delightful little bit of recycling. They take shredded documents, top secret stuff probably, about wars and spies and things, from the US Embassy in Phnom Penh and reuse it to make cards for messages of love. This little cottage industry is now run almost entirely by the locals.
Well, what we talk a lot about in our mission is servanthood, is coming to offer and to serve rather than coming in as the big heavy teacher or the expert or the Bible basher who's telling people that, you know, they need to change this and they need to get their lives in order. But just to come and offer and let the people take what you offer and run with it if they want. And you serve and encourage and facilitate in whatever way you can.
Part of the reward for Kristin and Sue is the sheer bravery of the Cambodians they're training. People like Vang Tar, who fled from the Khmer Rouge and waited in a refugee camp on the Thai border, many of his relatives killed in the genocide. Then in the camp he had to watch helplessly as his young son contracted meningitis and became permanently brain damaged for want of basic medicine.
I could not do anything, just looking my baby with my wife inside two camp, Khmer and Thai border. After that, I decided to be medical, and I joined medical training.
So I'd imagine that people have been through what this man's been through. They bring a certain amount of compassion to their work.
Sue's tears for a family so desperately needy yet so brave match the huge tug that Kristin Jack feels on his heart as he goes on learning about the extent of Cambodian suffering. He says it's likely to keep him and his family here for a long time.
I think I've learned how to cry. I think I've learned how to feel things and to empathise with people more from being here. I often felt quite sort of indifferent to things in New Zealand. Everything felt very bland to me. I'm not saying everybody has to come here to feel that. I mean, other people are more in touch with their feelings anyway, but for me, that was part of my journey. Yeah.
What little Caleb Jack will make of all this as he grows up will be fascinating to watch. The family's bet is that in some form or another, this boy will likely feel the irresistible pull to carry on the family tradition of service to the poor.